The topics discussed and the information provided on this program is for general information. The hosts of this show are not medical professionals and are expressing their personal views and stories related to their individual lives. Their views are not intended to be used or taken as medical information. If you or a family member have suffered a traumatic brain injury, you should seek help from a practicing licensed physician.
Hi, I'm Malin Whitaker, and welcome to Brain Mechanics. Today, we're going to discover what you do after the injury. Today, we're going to get into something that you wouldn't imagine TBI survivors or stroke victims or anybody else getting into with those kinds of conditions. Here on Brain Mechanics Today, a show of opinions. We're not doctors or lawyers or counselors in any way. We're people that have been there and done that. Today, we're going to play ball with the Miracle League Network. 275 Miracle League networks around the United States. And with our host, Matthew Duffin.
I threw out the opening pitch, my ball's going. Where did it go? Somebody hit it? Well, that's what they're supposed to do in the Miracle League. With that once, they hit the ball once. First of all, I'm a baseball guy. People that know me, you already knew that. Born and raised, I'm Woody Duffin's boy. It just can't be no other way. And I loved it. I hit my head 2008. I had umpired for 17 straight years at that time. I wouldn't leave a ball diamond. Still playing softball for Lawrenceburg Post in Cambridge City, winning state championships for them. Having a blast. Hit my head. Can't play no more, can't do nothing. Playing on my computer one night, I could do that. I found the Miracle League. I found the Miracle League baseball in Newcastle. I'm like, what? I live 20 minutes from there. So I make a couple of phone calls, and next thing you know, where's my bat, man? I got a bat in my hand. I'm playing ball. I'm winning trophies. My coach, Rob, don't like to talk about it, but I won a home run derby title one year. In 1998, in Rockdale, Atlanta, outside of it, or in Rockdale, Georgia, which is outside of Atlanta, they had a youth baseball association coach. His name was Eddie Bagwell, and he had invited a child that had a disability to play on his Little League team. He was 7 years old in a wheelchair, and he attended every game, and he practiced all the time with the team anyway. He wanted him to play and be part of the team and play. He was cheering on his 5-year-old brother all the time to play on this team. So he mashed him up. I don't think the other coaches liked being able to push the wheelchair around instead of sliding. So, in 1999, there was other people with disabilities that were invited to play baseball on a typical baseball field within the baseball convex of the Rockdale Baseball Association. And that's a pretty good deal for Atlanta to start that, bringing some handicapped people out. And just to play some ball.
Right.
Have fun.
No rules, no nothing, just they didn't know what they were doing.
I think there's some rules, man.
Well, there are now. I'm talking to when they very first started this.
Yeah.
They had the one kid, and then at the end they seen they had other kids that wanted to come out and do it.
Okay.
And, you know, and the players, after it was over, they had expressed a desire to dress in uniforms and make plays in the field just like the other kids had done, they'd seen before. They'd like to round the bases. They wanted to be like their mainstream peers and like their brothers or sisters. So in 1999, it began with 35 players on 4 teams in Atlanta. There weren't no programs to copy. It was decided kind of like T-ball, but even simpler. Every player would bat at least once an inning. Every player would be safe on the bases. How else are you going to know what a base is like unless you get to be on a base? What's the matter? You know, he gets to score a run, the last person gets to hit that little home run, just like baseball in T-ball. You know, more so, you go out in the community, and we have firefighters, policemen, baseball teams, buddy system. They're called, I got somebody, used to be Woodrow Duffin, he was 90 years old standing beside, well, trying to stand beside me. You have a baseball buddy. Somebody that helps you catch the ball, not get hurt, run, see that you're safe. Coaches galore. And everybody wins. No losers. And you got to reading this same stuff when Hannah wanted to play baseball, didn't you? Your investigation.
Right.
And this is really a new thing even at that point, because the Newcastle Miracle League with our own baseball diamonds beside the Chrysler Fieldhouse in Newcastle, and they're beautiful.
Right.
Now, what work you guys have put into them.
Absolutely, a lot.
We're in our 9th season. It's raining, but we're in our 9th season. And we're going into our 10th season next year. If you have a kid with a mental disability, or if you're an adult with a mental disability, you can play with me. We have adult teams too. We have littles and adults. You need to check in on the Miracle Baseball League information that'll be provided at the end of this show. At this point, I'm going to shut my cold up and turn it over to Cindy. Let her and Malin talk, because I think I'm about that. I got this far. Pretty good.
Good job. Good job.
But again, Hannah was wanting to play baseball. Her brothers were playing baseball.
Right.
You have a really nice ball diamond that Alan and you built beside your yard.
Right, right. Well, like I said, at the time, my 2 youngest boys were in T-ball, and we played in the yard with Hannah, and we pushed her, let her hit off their tee, and we pushed her to base, and everything just there at home, and played ball. We went to a ball game, and she was sitting next to me, and at the time it was behind home plate. So anytime Jordan or Tyler would come up to bat, you know, she kept, you know, and I'd say, oh yeah, there's Jordan or there's Tyler, and she kept pointing and tapping me on my arm and pointing, and I was like, oh honey, this is for Jordan and them. You can't go out there.
No, your turn.
Yeah, and for her, that was really hard to understand, because why can I play it at home and I can't play here? And so you know, you've seen kids do this.
I'm watching her face now.
And,
she knows that.
Yeah, she knows the story. And she did that, and it was very upsetting, you know, that she thought, I can't go and play now. Why, you know? And so I went home and was doing some research at the time, and actually came across, you know, the show Extreme Home Makeover with Ty Pennington. There was a lady on there who had started a program for her son out west, and I emailed her, and because they had a little thing at the end, and her and I talked quite a bit, and she said that I should try to look into the Miracle League, which was very new at the time also. I then contacted the Miracle League, and it cost $500 to get all the information to be able to run a baseball league.
Well, still, I mean, that's an expense.
Right.
But, and you did it personally.
Yeah, and I didn't have $500 to, you know, extra. But so for an entire year at that time, I prayed about this, because I thought, you know, I have her who has all of the issues that she has. I have 3 boys. I work a full-time job.
I just want to make sure our sponsors out there in TV land are understanding this is how you start to, it costs $500.
Yes, and so my husband and I prayed about it quite a bit, and then the next year, it was coming up on spring, which is time for baseball. And I, you know, prayed about, if I can come up with $500 within this next week, I'll run this baseball league. So I went and spoke to the Lions Club in Newcastle, and they were the first to sponsor us. And I went to my son's ball game, my oldest son's game, And while we were in the stand, a car pulled up and yelled for me to come over there. And I said, oh, hey, it's the lady from the Lions Club. She said, here's our check, and I've already contacted the Optimist groups, and they're going to sponsor you for the rest of your money. And so I got all $500 in one day.
Right.
And so I said, well, I guess we're going to have a baseball league. And we started out with 40 players in 2 teams, really.
Had you planned on playing beside your house?
No, we contacted the high school, and they graciously let us use the high school diamonds there in Newcastle. And I just really thought it would be 1 year. And when they'd play 1 year, and we'd be done. So we passed out little medallions. We did what we needed to do. And before we even got done, they're like, okay, so when do we start next year? And I was like, well, I didn't even think about next year. We're going to, we don't have enough people. But, it kind of has grown, and we now have 2 ball diamonds, and we play there at Baker Park in Newcastle.
And we own them, right?
We do. We lease those through the city. I don't pay for them because we're, considered a nonprofit. But we do lease those, and they have come a long way because they were were not being used hardly just as a practice field through the Little League, but we've redone all of them.
You've been through parks and cities before and see old baseball parks. They're grassed over, they're torn down, just old parks that somebody used to play on, and families play on the weekend or whatever. That's what these
They look like the Sandlot.
Sandlot. And
right, and so we've redone them, and we've the city stepped up this last year, along with we've had some help from the high school, so the girls softball uses them in the springtime. So we do have some new dugouts and new backstops, and we've come a long way.
In the high school, I've noticed, because I get to play on the new diamond most of the time, I've noticed that, the dugouts are huge.
Yes, and they were considered, for the future of us always being there.
Right, that's what, the wheelchair-wise, as far as gates,
all accessible, and our goal,
room to sit, and,
Our goal is to build a concession area and restroom facility, because there's not one. Right now, thank goodness for Hudson's Tool Rental right there in Newcastle. They provide us with what we call the blue room, the porta potties. And they donate those for us so that our players have something that they can use, even though they may be, not as easy to get in and out of, but we do have a place. But our goal is to build this very nice restroom facility where all the restrooms are handicap accessible. The concession area is also handicap accessible, so players can come in and work and get that experience, to be able to have that experience. Great. It will, and that's our goal for the next several years, to be able to build that up. Now that our diamonds are on the mend of being able to be taken care of.
And we'll get into the parks in a minute, Malin. You go ahead. I want to talk about, don't let me forget about the parks. I'm very forgetful.
Okay.
I think that there's several extraordinary things going on here. Number one, your love for Hannah very much shows. And Hannah's our miracle lady for being here, because Hannah had a stroke when she was born, literally, and has suffered through that, and also has a rare blood condition, like 1 in 14.
1 in 12.
12. Even.
23 years older than she was supposed to be.
Yeah.
Exactly. And full-time mom. You've got 3 younger children, boys, who I understand are a little possessive of their sister, and they're kind of, that's a good thing. And been working full-time, and you're also the director of baseball for handicapped people.
Right, yes.
What do you do on your weekends? I don't need to ask, right?
We play baseball.
Well, I think it's just really inspiring, because, in my situation, my wife was hurt, a victim of a crime, and I knew nothing about traumatic brain injury before that, and the baseball's coming down, and so it was all new ground to me. I didn't,
right,
nothing, and but to see you putting this love and effort into this, and Hannah here today, and actually, people with brain injuries and strokes can actually go out and enjoy themselves, huh?
Right. Anybody that cannot be on our general baseball team, and that could be someone maybe who's had, that is younger or older, that's maybe had heart trouble. Some people have severe diabetes. They can't play.
Okay.
If someone has epilepsy, or someone who's autistic or has Asperger's,
It's a broad.
It is anyone who is unable to play on a regular general team. We even have some players who just have ADHD who play on a general team but come to us first, and they get that sense of what a team is, how they need to know how to play. They, running to bases and all that. They come to us, and then they're able to learn that and able to move on up to. They've graduated to the Little League there in Newcastle, which is fantastic.
That's so neat.
And so, we are open to from mild disabilities to severe and profound. So we have players, that are in a huge range, and that's what we're there for. And it's all about fun and. One of the things that we love to do there is dance. Our community, this community loves music. And so we dance and have fun, and it's just an exciting day that it's just about them. It's not about us.
We have DJs at both diamonds while
Right.
games are playing.
And so it is not about
Sometimes
us.
I lose my third baseman, man. He wants to dance over in the
Right.
dugout, just dance around.
Right. We do
Better
a lot of
music?
dancing.
Yeah,
We do
better
great
band. No,
And that's what it's about. It's about them. It's not about what we do or how we do it. It is about our players getting the opportunity to do something that they've never been able to do. One of the guys that's on our leagues, he plays on the Rockies. He was 70-some years old, and he said, thank you, because I never would have been able to play baseball before. I mean, he's gone however many years it was at the time, 70-some
Yeah.
years, never been able to play
7
baseball.
decades, yeah.
So that is amazing in my thought, because
Yes.
back then he was put into, in an institution. He wasn't
Right.
allowed to be
Well,
out
that was
playing
then,
and doing
yeah.
stuff. So we've opened up a gateway for a lot of players. So
My first year playing up there, and Dad was my buddy.
yeah.
Malin knows my dad real well. He was in his 90s. He's a very smart baseball man. Coached for 28 years, and when Legion counted, I think Admiral Doubleday might have saw more games than him, maybe not. And I came in the dugout one hot day, and yeah, he wouldn't go on the field if it was too hot because he's a
Right.
little bit, but he'd come sit in the dugout, cross his legs.
Yeah.
He looked at me and said, he spit. He said, Matt, this is what baseball is all about, isn't it? I said, what? He said, I've been to a lot of ball games. You guys are just smiling and having fun. Everybody's just having a good time, and nobody cares about the score. Nobody cares about anything. They care about having a good time.
Yeah.
This is what Admiral Doubleday invented the game for. I almost wanted to kiss him on the lips right then, but he had a big old wad of tobacco still in his mouth.
It slowed you down. Yeah.
But
Good thing.
Cindy knew Dad real well.
Yes.
No.
I did.
He's
She
a
got
great,
to know
great
him.
guy. Great guy.
Yeah, it's just really what it is. We all smile. We've had very few injuries. There's always medical assistance aside. You're going to have a ballpark. You're going to have people get hurt. I think 2 or 3 people in 10 years.
yes.
Yeah.
Well, you can injure yourself at home, so you might as well go out and injure yourself while you're having a good
Right.
time.
I go out and
Right.
play injured. I'm already injured when I walk out there. I
Yeah,
walked out with a... Oh, I'm
You,
sorry.
you showed up that way.
I wasn't supposed to show up the way I did.
One thing I want to ask is, you're the director. I gave you title commissioner earlier,
Right.
but you're the director for Henry County here in Indiana. But my understanding is that there are maybe sponsors and directors needed in all the counties.
Sure.
That could. People don't realize how many affected people are in your town and in your county. And I want you to make a note of what was said earlier here, that Cindy started this and she wound up with 40 people
The first year.
the first year.
Oh, my.
Now, I would consider that an unrivaled success, just in numbers alone. But for those that are out looking for a sponsorship that shows their good intention toward the community, you might want to look into and it's on Facebook as.
Yes. We're
Sponsorships are cheap compared to other...
Yes.
I've been around the ballparks all my life. People that know me know I'm going to die on a baseball diamond.
But goodwill like this
It's
and
so cheap.
actually
It's-
doing something in
Oh.
the community.
Right.
And in Facebook, what's the...
And we're Newcastle Miracle League on our Facebook, and then it's newcastlemiracleleague.com as our website.
Okay.
And we are a non-pay-to-play organization. So because of the community that we service, a lot of them the olders live in group homes. So they have budgets, and then they're very limited. They couldn't afford to pay to play baseball. We ask for a $25 donation donation, but it is not expected. And so we rely on sponsorship to pay for shirts and hats.
I just think it would be a neat way for people who care in the community. And basically what, from 7 to 70, I'm hearing the age range?
Actually, we go from 3.
Okay.
I think 3 to 77, as I think is our oldest age this
And I've
year.
played with both of them by my side before.
Yes, yeah.
That's neat.
We took that little, I had a little 3-year-old kid that he wanted to play baseball. He wanted to learn.
Yeah.
So a couple years ago, remember,
Yes.
he played with me on the ranges.
Well, I would think
I'll
that
let anybody bat for me. I don't care.
focus and motor skills and all these sort of
I
things.
don't need it.
Well, the socialization and the team building, and we have a system that, like what he was talking about earlier, is called Buddies, the Buddy system, and we go to local schools in our community and we ask for people to come, able-bodied people as well as able-bodied peers, and they come and they help our players on the field. They go through a training and we teach them how to be helpful on the field, but yet let our players be able to play the game as much as possible.
Right.
And they stay with them on the field the whole time, and they help them in the dugout. They become their friends. And I've got buddies who have been with us from the very beginning who still buddy with the same player every year, who they exchange Christmas gifts, they go places, they do things with their family, so they become part of that player's family. And so it's a big, we're opening doors. A lot of our buddies are 20 and under, and so that's the generation we're trying to reach, because they're going to be in the future that will be there to accept people who have disabilities.
Right.
You know, we're hoping that this opens up their eyes, that someone with a disability is there to, they can help them and provide for them and be not to be afraid of them. That's our thing. So,
Mr. Feller, I thank you. Mr. Feller is a sponsor of our team. Surely I got the right shirt on, don't I?
I don't know.
That says First Choice
First Choice Seeds, yes. First Choice Seeds out of Milton.
Out of Milton, Indiana. And I've talked to, I blew to the face. We got, there's lots of sponsors. I don't understand why certain areas don't sponsor their representatives more, because it's not a Newcastle, that's the name of the group.
Right.
I played Legion Ball with guys from Newcastle, won state championships with guys from Newcastle, Cambridge City teams.
Right.
You know, it's just where we play.
We pull from several counties: Delaware, Wayne, Union, Hancock,
Guys from Anderson.
Henry, of course. Anderson is Decatur. We do Decatur, Madison, Randolph. So we pull from a lot of kind of east side of Indianapolis. So we pull a lot of players.
Really
absolutely. You know, we have a group that this year that's fantastic, and we were able to, we did have a company that stepped up this year and last year, and they paid for all of our hats and our uniforms. So that's a great savings for us as we build back up.
Do we want to acknowledge them at this point?
He does not want any acknowledgement at all. So he is
an
amazing man. Yes, he's an amazing man.
We went through this the last couple of years. We get things paid for it. Who did it? Who bought it?
I can't. They don't want anybody to know.
Oh yeah, that's fine. I'm just saying they don't want to know.
Absolutely. And we're really thankful for our sponsors. And our players go to their locations and they see them and they thank them. And I think that's why we have so many that return every year.
Assuming that you're not set up as not-for-profit.
Right. Yes,
so if somebody did want to donate anonymously or that sort of stuff through their corporate.
Right. Yes. And we're set up with First Merchants Bank there in Newcastle, and we have an account just for our concession area. That's our next biggest thing that we're going to be working on. So.
But I think the playground. We're building a playground that for both handicapped and disabled or
capable,
capable kids.
Yeah,
Thank
general.
You.
Call them general. Works that good. Yes.
Kids that want to paint their hair green.
Right.
Why not?
Why not?
I think
no,
what you're saying is a playground for all the kids.
Kind of
ADA accessible, and it's.
You know, we have to have certain types of equipment for some disabled people.
And that's through an organization, through the United Fund is working with that. But Will Rubeck, who was a huge supporter of people with disability there in Newcastle, he passed away a few years ago, and I was on the board for that. So we have brought that back up so that our community will have a place to be able to go and enjoy that. So,
and I think that's wonderful. Redoing our diamonds. They have to make them for the softball too. We have to let the girls softball diamonds. A lot of them, they just put AstroTurf on. Boy, we need that for rain. They'll put AstroTurf on them, and they'll make hard levels to push the wheelchairs around because some of these kids are in chairs.
Right.
I mean, I've played on the cane. I've played on walkers myself. I had to get around the diamond. I'm going. I'm playing.
Right. And a lot of our players feel that way. You know, they,
Right.
and on one of our players, his name's Caden Upchurch, and he had surgery several years ago, and he told the surgeon, I have to be out of here by Friday because I play baseball on Saturday. And I think he was 4 or 5 years old, and they said, the doctor said, well, I don't think you're going to be able to play baseball. And he goes, I'm playing baseball. And they brought him packed in a wagon, and he played baseball. He's like, I can't miss baseball. So that, it's not just baseball. It is their life. They love this game, and it's an opportunity to be almost like normal.
Another
and that's
important
normal
thing,
on their fields.
Yeah.
Another
So,
important thing to mention is we don't start until usually like the last week, first week of August, last week of
in July, right. We're kind
Right
of
when everything else, everybody else's ball seasons are over, you can come and enjoy because we got to go watch you.
right. And that works out because
We can't play. We got to go watch you.
right, in Henry County, a lot of our buddies are Little League and Babe Ruth players.
I've talked
And
to
so
some
it's great.
coaches, and I still can't get them to get a hold of you. I don't know if they don't believe me or what. Yes, it's true. The kids would love it.
Yeah.
How could you not bring your Little League team and bring 6 or 8 of your Little League players up and stand on the diamond? We'll let them catch the ball.
Well, we had World Series Little League several years ago, and Brett Mann brought his World Series players, and many of them, comment still about that experience of, even though they went to the World Series, that some of this was some of the best baseball they had seen, and they came multiple times even after that. You know, they're grown, almost grown men now. They're old enough to be out of school, but they enjoyed that so much being there with us. So it is an experience, and it's a growing experience. So.
Well, Cindy, I wish we had forever to talk. I know we're going to have to
I
wind down
appreciate
soon.
you.
He's
Thank
looking
you
at
for
me
having
hard. It's been great having you and Hannah with us. You know, real quick, you know, what she does, presently there are 275 Miracle League organizations across the country, including Puerto Rico, Canada, and a new member in Australia. Over 200,000 children with disabilities. Sean Casey's a big sports, that used to play for the Reds, the mayor. He's a big provider of us. Aaron Herring, Brad Asmus, Chipper Jones, Dale Murphy, Don Sutton, who's in the Hall of Fame, Dusty Baker. Come on. Harmon Killebrew.
Matthew, I know you can go on, and you're an inspiration.
I'm done.
I want her to get in her web address and Facebook account one last time before we have to say goodbye.
We'll see if you wouldn't have said that. Jim Abbott, Joe Mauer, Kevin Euclid, Nolan Ryan, and Sean Casey.
You can find us on Facebook at Newcastle Miracle League, and our website is www.newcastlemiracleleague.com. So get in touch with us.
Very good. Thanks.
The topics discussed and the information provided on this program is for general information. The hosts of this show are not medical professionals and are expressing their personal views and stories related to their individual lives. Their views are not intended to be used or taken as medical information. If you or a family member have suffered a traumatic brain injury, you should seek help from a practicing licensed physician.